Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody's having an amazing Thursday. I guess today is Thursday morning. And guys, welcome to the 7 at 7, where every day at 7-ish, we're gonna be telling you 7 things. Good morning, Timeless. Good morning, Diva Natural Transformation. 7 things you can do to really earn more revenue. And I'm gonna just go ahead and call it out. If you want to be on pace to earn your first 7 figures every morning, good morning, Diva Natural Transformation. We're going to be talking about the things that you need to do to make that happen. It's not an accident that some people make more money than others. It's not a fluke that some people make more money than others. It's not a surprise that some people generate more revenue than others. Something that Anthony Robbins says is that, and if you haven't shared this broadcast, make sure you share the broadcast. That's your cost for me letting you in on the other side of the door. Anthony Robbins says that success leaves clues. So one of the things that I did when I transitioned out of corporate America, I didn't want to just own a business. I wanted to own a business that made millions of dollars. And since then, I've made millions of dollars. My goal now is to make millions of dollars every year. Success leaves clues. So if you want to start to generate more revenue in your business, you want to start living a more financially successful life, you have to start to look at people who've done it before you. And that was one of the first things I did. As a matter of fact, good morning, God Explain Bids. I'm about to start a 7-figure book club, because one of the things that millionaires do differently is that they read and they study. And there's almost not a year that goes by that I don't read anywhere from 50 to 100 books. And that's on the low end. Good morning, sis. Natural Beauty 136. Welcome back. That's on the low end. If I'm not reading, I'm writing. If I'm not writing, I'm teaching. If I'm not teaching, I'm reading. If I'm not reading, I'm writing. And the hits go on. Because you have to study. Even the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. You have to study to shift your mindset. You got to study the way money works. And once you start really studying money, you'll start expecting money. If anybody in here in expectation, go ahead and type in, I am a millionaire. Because once you start studying the people who have achieved that, what you're going to realize is they ain't no different than you, and you ain't no different from them. Then ain't that what Alicia Keys said? So you got to live your life out like the people on TV. It's no different. It's the things you're doing. It is the actions that are keeping you from generating more revenue. So that's what we're going to be talking about this morning, is how do you get your actions? How do you get your actions in alignment with people that make a lot of money? So and if you have any questions along the way, definitely ask me. But one of the first things, like I said, millionaire study. So one of the first thing I did was, because I knew I did not have a college education. And if you're just coming in, go ahead and type in, I am a millionaire. One of the first things I did, because I knew I didn't have a college education, but I knew I had to have an education. I knew I had to have an education, right? And so what I had to do was I had to start studying different millionaires and what made them millionaires. And what I started to find out was, and let me tell you something, and this may hurt some of your feelings, but I'm not trying to. There's nothing wrong with you. You just don't know the path. And until you know the path, there's this thing called the Pareto rule. And the Pareto rule is 20% of what you do gives you 80% of your results. So 20% of what you do is going to give you 80% of your revenue. If you're doing the wrong 20%, then what happens is you end up with 80% of what you're doing giving you 20% of your revenue. And that's why you're not making as much money, because you're doing the wrong things. So what's one thing you need to do differently? Like I said, I'm starting a free 7-figure book club. You've got to read. I don't mean Audible. I don't mean listening to books. I don't mean on YouTube. You've got to be hooked on phonics if you want to be hooked on profits. Did everybody hear me? Somebody type in read. Look at your neighbor and say, read a book. You got to read, and you not only got to read, you got to read and write. You got to take copious notes. You got to read, write, and apply. Know what they say, read, write, and arithmetic? You've got to read, you've got to take notes, and then you've got to apply the things that you learn in those books to your life. And it doesn't have to be, there's a book by, let me see who that book is by. I can't think of who it's by, but it's called Atomic Habits. And he talks about how success is not won with giant steps. Success is won by tightening up the things that you're already doing. So the example that he used was a biking team. And he said the biking team was already a great biking team, but they wanted to be an extraordinary biking team. See, you may already be a decent business person. You may already make some decent money in your business. See, I didn't want to just be a decent business owner. I wanted to be an extraordinary business owner. I wanted to be a multi-million-dollar business owner. If that's what you want, somebody say me in the chat. If you want to be an extraordinary, not just another business owner. If you want to be a multi-million-dollar business owner, put me in the chat. So they didn't want to just be James Cleary. You're right, Stacy. Thank you for the reminder. They didn't want to just be a okay biking team. They wanted to be an extraordinary biking team. So what did they do? They took every single process. Hey, good morning, Ashley Spiller. Hey, Garu Chan. They took every single process and they broke it down to the least common denominator and started to make minute improvements in each process. So they looked at their they looked at their bicycles. Is this the best bicycle? They looked at their training regimen. Is this the best training regimen? They looked at their recovery regimen. They looked at their meal plan. Is this, in order for you to have the best business, Good Morning Resume Workshop, you've got to take it and break everything you do down to the lowest common denominator. Well, guess who's already done that for you? Me and my team have already done that for you. You are closer to 7 figures than you think. You want to know just how close? Go to bit.ly/7figurecall2020 and schedule a call with me and my team. We have 12 pillars. That 12 pillars is everything from your seed money to your profit plan. So when you work with us, we don't just say we're going to help you get to 7 figures. We show you exactly what is required so that you can go and do it over and over and over. Success leaves clues. It's not an accident that some people make money and some people don't. So what's the first thing you got to do in order to generate more revenue? You've got to read. For those of you who don't want to read, hire a coach that's going to read the books for you and give you the cliff notes. Hello? That's what I do with my clients. That every now and then I'm going to say, hey, you need to read this book. You need to read that book. But for the most part, every single thing that I do, I hand it right back off to my clients so they don't have to struggle like I had to struggle because I didn't know any better. Now you have me, you're going to know better. But guess what else you got to do? People who generate revenue execute. Come on now. bit.ly/7figurecall2020. I just put it in the chat on Instagram. People that generate 7 figures, good morning, Meek, they execute. They do stuff. They don't drag their feet. They don't procrastinate as much. Everybody's human. But if I have an idea that's going to make me money on Monday, by Tuesday, if not Wednesday, if not Monday night, that idea is up and running and generating revenue. Can you say that? How many of you feel like you struggle with action, taking action? How many of you feel like you struggle with moving quick? I'm telling you, when I ended my conference in 2015, one of the things that I told the room, and that was the first year that I made $1 million. I said, millionaires have a penchant for action. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? Procrastinations will kill your profits. Let me tell you, boss business babes, why I move so fast and why I don't overthink. Is because when you really understand money, and that's the education you're going to get from coaching with me, you're going to start to really understand money. You know that the worst you can do by moving quickly is lose some money. That's the worst you can do. But we also know that as long as God gives me breath in my body, I can do what? I can go make that money back. See, you got to start understanding that money is always being made and lost, and you're not immune to it. You just got to make sure you make a whole hell of a lot more than you lose. And you will, because moving quickly, sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose. But more often than not, you're going to win way more than you're going to lose. Some of you guys are losing money by staying in place. Somebody say, ouch. I don't know who I'm talking to this morning. Some of you are losing revenue by not taking action. And that's the worst thing in the world. The worst thing in the world is to know I coulda, shoulda, woulda. I should be in a bigger house. I should be in a better car. I could be off my job. I could have a ton of money in the bank. I could have made more money last year. And see, that's one of the ways that coaching comes in. A great coach, and I'm a great coach, is going to help you make more money than you spend on coaching. Some of you are losing money by not getting help. You're losing money by not getting help. You're losing money by not getting help. You don't have anybody to vet stuff with. You don't have a clear, that's number 3. Millionaires have clear, concise goals. Do you guys know what SMART goals are? Does anybody know what a SMART goal is? A SMART goal is specific, measurable, actionable, reasonable, and time-bound. I'm going to repeat that again so you can write that down. Remember, read, write, and teach. Read, write, and teach. A SMART goal is specific. Some of you guys don't have a specific plan for your business, or a specific plan for your money, or a specific plan as to how you're going to get a bigger house. You say you want it, but you don't have a specific plan. So number one, SMART goals are specific. Number two, SMART goals are measurable. So you don't just say, I want to get a house. You say, I want to get a house in this neighborhood. It's going to cost this much. I can measure that. So did I end up getting a $700,000 house, or did I end up with the $200,000 house? I can measure that. So SMART goals are measurable. SMART goals are actionable, meaning they encourage. So SMART goals will tell you, go do this. Because anybody that's everybody has read the Bible. The Bible says faith without works. Look at your neighbor and say, work, neighbor. Look at your neighbor and type in work. Everybody that's anybody knows that faith without works is a dead thing. So SMART goals have to have actions within the goals to make them attainable. Right? Now, here's where the SMART goal wheel kind of falls off for me. A lot of people say your goals should be reasonable. But see, I work for a supernatural God, and I work for a supernatural creator. I work for the Most High, and I know that miracles, by their very nature, are not reasonable. Miracles, by their very nature, defy logic. Therefore, they are unreasonable. So when I set my goals, I set unreasonable goals, because my ability to reach those goals are not really reliant upon me. They're reliant upon my faith. They're reliant upon my God. They're reliant upon what God can do, even when I can't. See, I did a lot of work to get here. But the core of who I am came from on high. And we all got the same ability to be able to leverage the abundance of our Creator if we do the work. So I make unreasonable goal. My goal is to generate my goal is to generate $32 million this year on the low end. The mid-range is 50 and some change, and the high end is 80 and some change. And I'm about to put my head down, and I'm about to make a run for it. It's unreasonable. But God, it's unreasonable. But you got to remember that you serve a God that let Jesus walk on water, that turned water to wine. See, you got to read your book. I'm not even trying to get you to turn water to wine. I'm just trying to get you to add a couple of zeros on this million. You understand what I'm saying? You hear me, Lord, this morning? So you got to stop counting yourself out and start counting yourself in, which is another thing that millionaires do differently. In a poll of 1,000 millionaires, over 90% of them credited a higher power for their success. Did you know that? I forgot to tell you, get me some coffee.
You got tea. I was talking about it. You had the tea.
Did you realize that? So at some point, these people are not just relying on who they are and what they can do to be successful. So let me recap. This is 7 things that 7-figure earners do differently than everybody else this morning. So the first thing they do is read, right? The next thing they do, they definitely write. They apply and take action. They have clear goals. You know what else they do? And I find this, let me tell you something. A lot of people may not agree with this, but they spend more time earning money than they do budgeting. I have never been a big coupon. Well, no, I'm not gonna say never. Before I got married, and as soon as I got married, back in 1995, I used to do a whole lot of couponing. So when we moved from San Diego to Houston, man, I had about 10 deodorants for each one of us. I had all kind of laundry detergent, soap, toilet paper. I had so much stuff. Some of that stuff was becoming costly. It was going bad. And so I realized then that the same energy you spend clipping a bunch of coupons is the same effort you could spend going to earn some extra money. So that's when I stopped really budgeting. Now I'm super frugal, but if I want something, I'm gonna go make the money to get it. So that's another thing you have to stop doing. You have to stop speaking broke over your life. Did y'all hear that this morning? You gotta stop speaking broke over your life. You've got to stop saying what you can't afford, because all things are affordable. All things are possible for those who love the Lord. And I hear so many people saying, I can't afford a coach, and they've not even looked into starting the coaching process. Now, you won't get $1 million business coaching for a dime, but there are things you can still do to start the process. Go to bit.ly/7figurecall2020 and stop avoiding. Can I tell y'all a quick story? Let me see what time it is. I got to get out of here in a minute, but I want to tell y'all a quick story. A lot of you don't have because you don't ask. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? The word says you have not because what? You ask not. So there's a book called The Game of Life and How to Play by Florence Scovel Shinn. And in that book, she talks about how there was a man and he had saved all his money to move to America. He had to catch a boat. So he said, I don't have enough money. Y'all hear me now? He said, I don't have enough money to eat on the ship too. I just got enough money for my passage. So I'm going to pack cheese and meat and crackers, and I'm just going to eat, take my food with me and eat. So every day for about a week, while everybody else was in the dining room, he would sit out there by himself and eat his meat and his cheese and his crackers. And one day a lady passed by and said, why are you out here eating that? And he said, well, once I bought my ticket, I couldn't afford the food. The woman said, the food comes with your ticket. You should have asked somebody. Did y'all catch that? She said the food is part of your ticket. So while you sitting out here eating crackers and salami because you ain't asked nobody, while you sitting over here eating this rancid cheese because you ain't asked nobody, while you sitting over here eating this dry bread because you ain't asked nobody, had you opened your mouth and asked somebody, you could have been in the dining room eating with everybody else. That's some of you. Because you haven't opened your mouth and asked God, because you ain't made the call to see What do you even need to do to start the process? You sit where you are. And so you sit year after year. You have not because you ask not. And then once you ask man, some of y'all stop right there. You go ask man for the job, and because they won't give you the job, or you go ask man, how much does something cost? And because you don't see the money, you stop the process. Once you know, what happened to asking God? I hope somebody learned something today. That's my only wish. You could be a millionaire, but your business could be making millions of dollars a year, but until you align your actions with the actions of those of us that do make that level of money, you're going to be outside and you're not going to know why. Because you haven't even opened your mouth and said, what do I need to do to cross over? So I'm going to get out of here, guys, because y'all know my morning show is next. But I'm here 7 days a week at 7 a.m. giving you 7 tips on what you need to do to earn 7 figures. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7-ish. If you're interested in starting your journey, go to bit.ly/7figurecall2020. The number 7figurecall2020 2020, and schedule you some time to meet with myself or my team so you can understand what it takes to start this journey. All right? 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, guys. That's the thing millionaires do. They be on time. Hello? They be on time. If somebody's teaching you a lesson for free, be on time. All right, Coach, love y'all. Have a great morning.